Hi, welcome to Sheepish, episode 49. Today is Wednesday, October 15th, 2014, and I'm Holly. So, a couple of things. Okay, some of you might be going, episode 49, Holly, what's going on? We haven't had a 48. And some of you are like, oh, wait, I recognize where you're at. Are we trying this again? Well, we'll discuss the second part. I am in my office again. I'm going to give this another try. Hopefully, I'm going to use a different editing software. So, because I've recorded here before using this camera, so hopefully it won't be as much of a fiasco. Now, for those of you who are saying, WTF, what happened to episode 48? Episode 48 was recorded last week here using my camera, and for some reason, the video and audio were completely foobarred. If you don't know the term foobar, look it up. It's not a kid-friendly term. But completely foobarred. They were recording at different speeds. I didn't realize it because I tried to edit on Premiere here at the office, and it's a different version of Premiere than I have at home. So weird. So I'm going to use my original editing software that I used to use all the time, and hopefully that will help. I didn't used to have this issue, so I don't know, maybe it was a one-off. If you really, really want to see the awfulness of episode 48, it is on the blog at sheepishpodcast.com. I had it up on iTunes for a little while, so if you were lucky enough to see that, sorry. And if it's downloaded and you haven't watched it yet, you're probably going to come up with an error message because I pulled it down. I'm not happy with it. Like I said, I left it up on the blog. It's one that I briefly thought about going in and just stripping the audio from and just making it an audio podcast. Because I talk about a lot. I mean, it was quick. It was like 24 minutes, but yeah, you know. So if you really want to see it, it's there. If not, I'm going to go forward and just pretend it never happened. Or really, I'm not going to show everything that I showed last time. I guess I will, because I've made progress on just about everything. But yeah, I haven't moved markers or anything just because I know that there are some people out there that haven't seen it. So yeah, I'm going to go forward and pretend it never happened. Yeah, that might be the best thing. So wish me luck. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that picture that I took of things in Adobe Premiere when I got home. I was trying to take the finished copy. I downloaded it. I tried to edit it so that way I could match or sync up the audio and video a heck of a lot better. I had them running at completely different rates. I was playing around with the audio. It literally took me 3 hours to edit 6 minutes of audio. And when it was late at night and I was already having a bad day, I just said, forget it. So, I love you guys, but yeah, I wasn't doing that. So, like I said, I pulled it down. I pulled it off of iTunes. I didn't upload it to YouTube. So really, the only people who really didn't get to see it are YouTubers. Sorry. I love you guys. But if you really want to see it, go to sheepishpodcast.com and look for episode 48. However, this is episode 49. Yeah, we're one away from 50, and I am planning on recording the 50th episode, which, not like it's a huge, huge deal. There's no Yeah, there's no fanfare. But I'm planning on recording that next Tuesday at some point, hopefully during the day, and hopefully it'll be a lot sunnier than it is outside right now. Because I am off all day, because that is the day before Michelle and I take off for Highlands on the Fly, and we are driving up. Talk more about that in the What's Making Me Happy. But yeah, so I will have time. So let's go ahead and get started with the current roster. So there has been movement on everything on the current roster. If you did not watch episode 48, there are some new things on the roster. And if you did, there's been progress made on those things. So let's go ahead and start off with the July Saki Socks. Yeah, I am going to fail. I'm going to fail my own goal of 12 pairs of socks in a year. And that's with starting out with 2 pairs of socks on the needles and finishing them in January. These are my July socks. These are done out of Into the World. It's the Gloucester base, I believe, in the Marcy Hardigan colorway, and it's washing out for me a little bit, but you've got these reds and pinks and grays. Oh, it's gorgeous. And it has created this striping without any help from me. Now these are just a basic vanilla sock for me. I did them toe up, and I did a 2-1 increase. Something I picked up from Heather of Highland Handmaids and Fiberista Files fame. She mentioned it on her podcast like a year and a half ago or something, back when she was in Southern Maine teaching. So it's been a while. But where I just do 2 increase rows to 1 knit plain row. And it gives a slightly shallower toe, which I like. It's less boxy. I mean, you still get a little box, but you know. Also with this, because I am doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel on this, and I know that that gives me extra room, I have reduced my normal number of stitches of 64 down to 60. Normally, or not normally, I used to do a 60 stitch sock all the time, which ended up being a little snug around the heel. But the last 64 stitch sock that I did using the Fish Lips Kiss heel was way too loose. So I brought it down to 60, and it's a nice snug sock. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. This is sock 2. I did finish sock 1. I showed that off last week. I had a hoe. You won't see it again until I finish this one, and this is going to be a little while. This is kind of my car knitting. Kind of, it is. It lives in my car. I knit at stoplights. Not all the time, but when there's traffic, and there's always traffic in the DC area, I knit at stoplights. So there is that. So the second thing on the roster is the Hermione's Everyday Sock. This is an easy pattern by Erica Luter. Wow, bad podcaster, no cookie. But everybody's seen this sock pattern. It gives a great texture. The yarn is CJ Knit, and it's the 12th Doctor colorway, and it's her sock base. It is a merino nylon blend. I believe it's 80/20, and as you can see, almost done. This is the first sock. It's almost done. It's been put to the side because I've been working on my Highlands on the Fly knitting. But I'm grabbing a few rounds wherever. So I have got 2 more decreases to go before I can Kitchener these, and they can be called officially done. And I have got plenty of yarn to do that second sock. I never worry about running out of yarn. Small feet. So there is that. I'm kind of going through these quickly, sorry. And that is living in my Slip Stitch Studios Sock Plus bag and with the Harry Potter fabric, because I love it. The July sock, not living in anything. This is my August sock. I have not cast on a September or October sock because, like I said, I am going to be a huge fail in my own challenge, which is fine. By the end of the year, I will have at least 8 pairs of socks, hopefully. So, yay. So that brings us to, let's go with the big one. So pulling out my Fat Squirrel Fibers bag, and this is the sweater bag with the companions. Whoops. Wow. There is a light right here, right above my monitor and camera, so it washes things out a little bit. I have pulled out of retirement, if you didn't watch the last episode, my hero. I have made a lot of progress on it. When I last pulled it out, on episode 48, I believe was finishing up the sleeve. It looks like a sweater. I know. I have just added in, you can tell, the red. That is the last color that I am using. So I'm almost at the end. It's a sweater. So this is done in Madtosh Vintage in the, I'm just going to hold up the yarn remnant balls. The body color is antique lace, and it's like a beigey gray. That greenish gray is Grey Gardens. Again, that's coming up a lot more gray than it is. I mean, it's a beautiful green. The brown is, I believe it's called Bark, and it's a really rich golden brown. And finally, whoops, if I can get the green off of it, this red, which is coming up a lot more orangey than it actually is, it's kind of a bluey red, is Robin Redbreast. I'm really happy to be finishing up on this color. So right now I'll be working through this and the bark. I'm making good progress on it. I am, while I'm not monogamously knitting on it, when I'm at home, it's what I choose. I may have brought it into work yesterday so I could work on transitioning between the green, so transitioning between the green and the brown so I could be just on the brown and I could cut my green. And honestly, this is how much I have left of the green. So this was used for the sleeves and I believe the bottom of the sweater because I added in that color work. And this is what I wound for the yoke. And this is what's left over from the body. I still have 2 full skeins of this. I believe the pattern called, the yardage requirements called for 6 skeins of this. I bought 7 because I was a little worried because I added length. I don't know. Somehow I managed to do it in 5. I think that's what my math comes up to. Because I know I didn't buy 8. I mean, granted, I can just go in my receipts and figure that one out because I bought it all from Jimmy Beans. Yeah, and if you guys don't know what Hero looks like, let me find a picture. This, okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the glare. But that is what Hero looks like in a cardigan. I am doing a pullover because I can't be bothered to steek. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen, I should say, that I've been doing updates every day, and in some days multiple updates on this sweater. Part of it's because I'm using that as motivation to actually get the sweater done for Highlands on the Fly. I want to wear it in Maine. I hear that it's been a little chilly and I might want it. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you want to see what I'm doing in between and you want to see the progress that I make on my knitting in between, and if you just want to see regular pictures of my cat, because George has not been on the podcast in a while, and that's the one way everybody gets to see him. I am KnitGirl726 on Instagram. And really, posting progress pictures has done me a world of good. It's kept me motivated in knitting this. I have some lovely friends on Instagram who know exactly what I need to hear to keep me going. I will have this done this year. I started last winter, and I put it down because of all of this stockinette in the antique lace colorway. I got really bored really quickly. So yeah, I decided to pull it out of retirement. I needed something to knit on for Highlands on the Fly. I have a couple of other ideas of sweaters that I want to get done. Yarn in my stash for sweaters that I want to get done, but I knew I wanted to get this done. I really needed to get it off the needles, and yeah. So hopefully by Tuesday that should be done, and I should be wearing it. We'll see. The DC area seems to have taken a turn for the warmer right now. We had some beautiful fall weather, interspersed with rain, but it was beautiful, cool fall weather. And then in the last couple of days, it's been rainy and 70-some degrees with like 76% humidity. So it's not really sweater weather. Hopefully soon. So finally, living in my no knits bag, which I never really use. I never really bring it out. I don't know why. I know I bought it years ago in the idea that I would just strap this to my belt loops and I would just knit as I walked. I can barely walk as I walk, so that's just not happening. But I have on some stash yarn. So this is, wow, completely overshadowing. That's a little better, but yeah. So this is Highland Handmaids. Is it White Ash? Heather, I'm sorry. But it is the Merino Bamboo Blend, which is 60 Merino, 40 Nylon, in the In Search of Dragons colorway. And I have a hat started. Now, yes, I know that the bamboo's going to drape and it might not be ideal for a hat, but really it's lovely to work with. It was caked up, and why not? It's got merino in there. I also have heard that, from a little birdie, Heather, that I might want a hat. I mean, and yes, I have hats, but I want to knit a hat. So this is on the needles. This is the Barley hat. So you've seen a lot of podcasters knit this hat. It's the Barley hat by Tin Can Knits. And it's going pretty quickly. Last week when I recorded, I did record. I was only a few rows into, maybe like 2 rows into the ribbing. Yeah. This has basically been what I've been working on at work. When I have a stressful moment, when I've got a webinar. I mean, I haven't made a lot of progress on it. This was also preseason hockey knitting. Since I decided to work on Hero, it hasn't really been touched. I knit on a few rounds on it last night. And I love how it's kind of striping. It's spirally striping. So at first I thought it was just kind of flashing, and now I see it's creating like a spirally stripe, and I didn't expect that. I don't know if Heather meant to do that, or if it's just the way, like the number of stitches that I've cast on and the pattern, if that's just the magic number to make this stripe. We'll see. But I really, really love how this is turning out. It's so soft and lovely. So lovely. So this will be done by next week, because if not, really, it shouldn't take me that long to knit a hat. I am knitting it on my ChiaoGoo red lace needles. I'm also knitting the Hero on my ChiaoGoo red lace needles. And I have on the size 8s. And I've got a 6 and an 8 on here. I love the interchangeables for that. So having that 6 on there has really made it speed up, which is kind of nice. So there's that. That is all that's on the current roster. I know, all, right? Hey, I could have cast on a lot more. I'm opting not to. I do have a hat design that I'm mulling through my head that I think I will cast on for the drive up, but we'll see. So we've really kind of transitioned out of the current roster and going into scouting report. Again, I forgot my 2 bits of stash enhancement. I got a lovely package from my bestie. And I talked about this on the last one, but again, if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. And she got me a beautiful braid of merino silk from Fiber Optic. She went to a Yarny festival, Fiber Fest, and I forget what the name of it is. I want to say it was in Yellow Springs, Ohio. I could be wrong. But when she sent me the vendor listing, I was like, oh, Fiber Optic. And she asked me what colors I liked, and I kind of gave her a few, but I was just like, surprise me. And she did. She got me the Aqua Chocolate Gradient, and I love it. I can't wait to spin on it. I need to really clean up my wheel, and yeah, and then decide what I'm taking. So there is that, and then I got my Snapshots for Maine Yarn Club from Heather, Highland Handmaids, because this is the all Heather show apparently. Love you. And that was her, I think it was actually the same base, the Merino Bamboo base, in her color for, and I cannot remember the name of it, or the postcard. Yeah, I just need to take pictures of these and put them up on Instagram because I keep forgetting to bring them when I record. So, but yeah, so that's all I've added. I may have caught a Jinx update, and I caught it completely by accident, and I don't know if she meant it to be up and available, but it was up on Etsy. I was checking yesterday. I knew that there was an update last night, but I was checking yesterday afternoon to see if I could just bookmark her Etsy page, so when the update opened, yeah, but it was open. So I snagged a couple skeins. Now, never mind that I can get Jinx at my LYS. Never mind that. I still managed to snag some skeins. And I may have set an alarm for Unwind Yarn Company's next update, which is going to be on Tuesday the 21st. Maybe. La 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 la. But I've been really good up to now, and next week, yeah. So that's taking us into what's making me happy. Next week is Highlands on the Fly. I know. I can't wait. To all of my friends that are going, I can't wait to see you guys again. There will be lots and lots of fun. If you are going and you didn't go last year, you will have a ton of fun. These are some awesome, awesome people. If you don't know about the Highlands on the Fly retreat, it is held in Maine. I want to say it's outside of East Millinocket. That sounds right. So outside, like an hour or so outside of Bangor. And it is held at the New England Outdoor Center. and it is hosted by Heather of Fiberista Files, Katie of Knitting on the Fly, and Sarah of Fiber Track TV. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. As soon as signups were available, maybe not as soon as, because they opened up really, really early, but not long after they went available, I made sure to sign up, and so did Michelle. We made a lot of friends, and I've been looking forward to this all year. One of the things that I love about this trip is that I have no cell service. Like, yes, there's Wi-Fi. There is Wi-Fi there. But I have no cell service. I cannot get a call. You have no clue how happy this makes me. Or really, my cell service is poor up there. But I can't get calls. That means work can't call me. I know. I will be probably posting on Instagram from up there because the main dining room, the restaurant area, which is also like the lodgy area, has Wi-Fi. And depending on where the cabin is situated in relation to that, tells us what our Wi-Fi signal strength is. In the cabin that Michelle and I were in last year, the signal strength is poor for us, or at least for the two of us. And that was okay because it meant that, we weren't always on our electronics. So I'm really looking forward to that. And this year, because Michelle and I want to take up more stuff than we did last year, because flying in is convenient. It really is, but it means you can't take up most of the stuff. Like, I really wanted to take my spinning wheel this year. I really did, and I'm going to. The bug's going up with us, so that means I'm going to take some fiber up. Probably not a whole heck of a lot because, I'm going to also buy fiber there too. But we don't have to choose. Like, we're going to take fiber up, or I'm going to take fiber up, and I'm going to take my wheel, and I'm going to take a few knitting projects. I don't know if Michelle's going to take her loom or not. That's a little less portable, but it would be really cool if she did, right? And so we're going to drive up. We've planned a few field trip stops on the way up. Like, both of us want to go to Hyde Park because Ken Burns' special on the Roosevelts, that 7-part special, we both loved. And while I knew about the Roosevelt family, I didn't know, I knew a lot about them. I just didn't know as much about them as as that documentary special put out there, and so I'm looking forward to that. So I think we're going to stop there. I know that we want to stop at Webb's. I don't know if we want to do that on the way up or the way back. Ideally, in our roundabout way, we'll make it to Boston that first night and then drive up from Boston. Ideally, we will arrive before sunset on Thursday the 23rd. And I'll probably talk about this more next week when I record. But that is the plan. And then we want to get back by Monday afternoon. Trying Monday afternoon, if not early evening. I also gave myself next Tuesday, or the Tuesday after next off, so the 28th off as well, so I can decompress and unpack, and I can slowly get into the work week. And I can also triage all of my work email, because that's probably going to be crazy. I need to do a few things for that, and so this week's been kind of a stressful week where I have to get everything done for next week. And I don't have enough time to do it. I'm going to make the time. It's resulted in a couple of late nights, and that's okay. But if I can leave everything in a good spot, it means nobody will actually try to call me. And of course, next week is a busy week here in the office, and so I'm leaving a few people high and dry on that, but I'm like, I'm not moving my vacation. This is going to happen. I don't take a lot of vacations throughout the year. I take days here and there. but this is an actual vacation. So, yeah. Yay! But yeah, that's the main thing that's making me happy. Also, what's making me happy, for the most part, hockey season has started. I know, NHL. And again, if you watched the last one or listened to the last one, yeah, you already know that this is making me happy. Um, it's still early in the season, so it's too soon to tell anything by standings. Um, we the Caps played last night. We lost in a shootout, so a skills competition. We came back from a 3-0 deficit in the first. Um, halfway through the first period, we were playing the San Jose Sharks, who are undefeated. And they were 3-0 in the first. We came back in the second to bring it within one. It was a great game to listen to when we actually started to play. We actually broke the San Jose Sharks up until last night had a record of letting no goals in. We broke that record last night. I mean, granted, again, it was their third game of the season, so but their first two, no goals. So we broke that. Yay! The Caps have a nickname, the Cardiac Caps, because they like to give us all cardiac arrests. And they were living up to their nickname last night. In the second period, we came back, and we got it within one. We were at 4-3 going into the third. And in the third period, San Jose got another one, so it was 5-3 for a majority of the third period, and literally with less than a minute on the clock, I believe it was less than, no, it was a little longer than that, because I was working on my hero, and literally I had just gotten to the point where I was adding in the red yarn, and Troy Brouwer, number 20, ties it up. And that sent us into overtime. Now, I know I've talked about this last year, and I know that some other podcasts do talk about hockey, and Holding the Sticks is not recording, which is sad. And she had really great explanations of a lot of these, or at least I haven't seen her on YouTube, so I don't know. I don't think she's recording anymore. Anyway, but overtime is basic during the regular season is 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Instead of calling it sudden death, play-by-play announcers are now calling it sudden victory overtime. But basically, first team that scores wins. If you don't, sorry about that. If no one scores in overtime in that 5 minute period, you go to a shootout, which is basically a skills competition. You've got shooters from either team. One team goes and shoots against the goalie. The other team goes. So San Jose won it in a shootout, which, we lost, but we still got a point in the standings. And from the first period, I'm just giddy that we got a point. We came back, we fought. I'm thoroughly thrilled that we got a point. So yeah. So hockey is back. I'm a happy camper. There's always hockey on, it seems. And on Saturday, it was one of the few times that all 30 teams played that same night. So you had a ton of games coming in. You had play-by-play announcers were giving you around the league scores frequently and updating, which was kind of cool. So it's not often that all 30 teams play on the same night, but it's cool when it does. And that night we did really well against Boston. So yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. We are about 34-ish minutes, 35 minutes. Yeah. So a little longer. I can babble. So I will leave it here, and if you'd like to follow me, you can always contact me at sheepishpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at knitgirl726 or on Ravelry as knitgirl spelled conventionally. And if you feel like doing so, please leave me a star review or a rating on iTunes. It's been a while since I've had one of those, and you should do that for any podcast that you listen to or you watch, because what it does is it helps people find you. So if you like me, other people might like me. So that's the shameless self-promotion. I'm like, and if you're on YouTube, down here, there's a subscribe button. I think it's there. Or there. Yeah, there. So click on that subscribe button. That lets YouTube know that people are watching me. Like the video. I've got a few comments that I really need to go back and thank people for. Show notes, if I can get around to them. I mean, this will go on the blog no matter what. The show notes will be on the blog. So you can always leave a comment there or in the group on Ravelry. So with that bit of me just blabbering on, have a great week, everybody. I will see you next week. Keep knitting, spinning, stitching, and crocheting on. And one last thing. Wendy Frew, I love you. We're all pulling for you. If you don't know, she is going through a battle with hairy cell leukemia. I'm sure you guys have heard about this on other podcasts. I am just now getting caught up on podcasts, but I follow her, and I'd seen that she was in the hospital on Instagram. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Wendy Frew, love you. We're pulling for you. We're all sending good thoughts and prayers that you get better and helping you fight this. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.